Professional interpreters use terms to describe language skills, linguistic fluency, and people they work with, as well as vocabulary to describe the various tasks that interpreters perform. A person's first language can also be called their A language, or L1. Typically, this A language, or L1, is the language your parents speak. However, this is not always true. This language is the one in which you are the most fluent and are capable of discussing a variety of topics for many different purposes. The majority of people across the US and Canada use English as their A language. While possibly having a regional accent, no one would doubt that you are a native user of your L1. A second language is referred to as L2 or B language. This language is acquired by either living in a country where that language is spoken by, interacting with frequently, or people using that language, or by studying the language formally. People will typically feel comfortable using their L2 language to have a conversation in many different settings on various topics. Conversations about things like mechanics, linguistics, nursing, etc. will possibly be more difficult in your B language, and you may speak or sign with an accent. Using your B language, you may overlook some forms of humor, particularly playing with the language, and this may cause some difficulty. Using your C language is much more difficult to use. You may be able to understand most of what is being expressed, but maybe not able to respond. When using your C language, you will have a heavy accent and use improper grammatical structure and make frequent mistakes when selecting vocabulary. Typically, your sentence structure is that of your A language. Interpreters convey information between two languages, the source language and the target language. Interpreters convey information between two languages, the source language and the target language. The source language is the language in which the original message is conveyed. For example, if the speaker is conveying their information in German and the message is being interpreted into Russian, the source language is German. The target language is the language into which the original message is interpreted. The target language is the language into which the original message is interpreted. An interpreter takes the message expressed in the source language and works through a complex mental process to express that same message into the target language. The TL expression of an interpretation is always slightly behind the SL message because of the time required to take in the SL and make mental search for meaning, which is called processing time. Now we will talk about transliteration.